Welcome back for another Infinite Warfare video. Today we're looking at slide kills. Getting them with SMGs, it's the equivalent of getting a low blow medal. How do you get them easily, efficiently? We're going to be looking at that all today. If you do find it useful, feel free to leave a like and let's get on to today's video. So for each SMG to get the whiteout camo, you need to get 50 kills while sliding. That means 50 low blow medals. The good thing is, like I say, every time you get a slide kill, it will come up as a low blow medal on screen, so you easily know when you've got one. Now when I first tried getting them, I honestly thought they'd be the bane of my life. Getting 3 to 5 low blow medals per match is not efficient when you need to get 50 of them. But honestly, if you follow those tips, you'll get them pretty easily. Now when I first tried this challenge, I instantly thought free-for-all would be the way to go. Surely that be the case, since it is for almost every other camo with the weapons, right? After playing free-for-all for a while, I suddenly realised what the problem was. Often when I would try to slide kill an enemy, they'd either have slightly too much health, or I would run out of slide before I killed them. Either way, this doesn't count. The only way to get around it in this game mode would be to find someone without full health, or get closer to them. Either way, this is very difficult to achieve. But then it struck me, what if the enemies had less health? And that, my friends, is where hardcore comes into play. For me, it's got to be hardcore TDM, but if you prefer a different hardcore game mode, then why not? The reason hardcore is so good is because you have to barely hit them with 1 or 2 bullets and it'll instantly kill them. Yes, you have much less health, but so do the enemies, and so you barely have to slide and kill them at all. This is especially good considering that for these medals you have to actually slide and hip fire the weapon rather than aiming in. So your bullets are going to be going all over the place. Now out of your whole magazine, it's very likely that at least 1 or 2 is going to go near the enemy if you shoot at them. So this is why it's so easy. In terms of class, I went for the SMG and put a foregrip on it. This obviously means you have less recoil and the gun's going to kick less. Now while you're not aiming down sight, it's still useful because the gun is going to stay more on target where that enemy is when you're sliding towards them. Next, I put the suppressor on. This may seem a bit counterintuitive, but considering we're in hardcore anyway, the enemy has very little health. If I don't put a suppressor on, the problem is that enemies can hear me. They'll instantly know where I am and they'll converge towards me. On the other hand, if I put suppressor on, I will have slightly less range, but at the same time, I'll stay hidden so I can take out the enemies slowly when I want. This often works better to pick them off one by one from the herd. Next up, the laser sight. Now I'm sure a lot of people thought of this already. It's a must-have. You have less bullet spread and the bullets stay more concentrated onto the enemy. And it may seem weird, but I also went for particle amp. Now remember how just a minute ago I was telling you about how the suppressor reduces the range? We can increase the range again with particle amp. So we can have a gun that's suppressed but at the same time doesn't have a shorter range, because particle amp is going to increase the stopping power range, meaning that you're more likely to kill them in a shorter time period. In terms of perks, I like dexterity first of all. Dexterity means you can reload faster and it's less likely you're going to be caught off guard reloading when an enemy comes towards you. Perk 2, I've gone for Tracker. Tracker means you can actually see enemy footsteps, and so often you can actually follow where they're going and slide up to them, often without them even realising because they have their back to you. This is why Tracker is really good. I had 1 point left and I couldn't go for a second perk 1 or 2 or another attachment, so I had to go for a perk 3. I went for Marksman therefore. While it doesn't do much, it does minorly reduce flinch, so it might give you that edge occasionally which could make the difference between life and death. So now we've got the class out of the way, what about the rig? I like going for Synaptic personally, and here's why. What I primarily wanted was the trait. The trait I go for is propulsion. It allows your thrusters to recharge faster, and this is brilliant because when you're zooming around the map, you're jumping, you're sliding, whatever you're doing, you're using up that meter very quickly and it takes a while to recharge. If you use propulsion however, it recharges almost instantly, and that's perfect for you. Because bear in mind, you'll not only have to jump over and thrust towards the enemy, you'll then have to slide when you get there. This is all going to use up your meter, and if you have to wait for it to recharge, you might die and the enemy might move off. So propulsion is going to mean that you can instantly recharge your meter and slide much more quickly. Because I went for this trait, I obviously needed to go for a payload. As I've said in many videos already, going for non-lethal payloads is the way to go. If you go for lethal ones, it takes away from the number of kills you can get with your weapon and reduces the number of kills you can get towards that challenge in a certain game. So non-lethal is the way to go. The only option therefore was Rewind, but this has actually happened to work in my advantage really well, and I think it will help you too. Rewind not only brings you right back, but it also replenishes your health and ammo. So if you're in a gunfight and you're about to die, use the Rewind payload and you'll be brought right back around the corner. You'll also have full health again and full ammo. This is perfect. Now bearing in mind, it is hardcore we're using, and so your health is very low anyway, but just in a few cases where, for example, an enemy might just shoot you and you'll have so low health that if you took another bullet you'd die. If you use this, your health will be replenished, you'll go around the corner and you'll have another go at sliding towards him to get the low blow medal. Out of all the times I may have needed the Rewind payload, it probably successfully gained me another low blow medal once every 4 or 5 times. While this doesn't sound like much, this is on top of the number you get already, so it's quite useful. Now that that's all out of the way, what are the actual tips for it in game? I've already mentioned that if you're in a situation where you're unlikely to get the slide kill and you might die, that using rewind is helpful for getting out of situations. I also have to stress that there's no point fighting for maps with windy halls, rocky pathways and uneven surfaces. It makes it much more difficult to slide, and so you want maps with lots of flat surfaces. Note that the whole map doesn't have to be flat, but there has to be bits of it with enough flat surface for you to run and slide and get the low blow medal. Because of this, there are a few favourite maps of mine which I often vote for. These include Frontier, Precinct, Throwback, Skydock, Mayday, and possibly even Genesis. Now I don't know whether this is just me, but the amount of times that I would try and go into a slide and my character would just flop on the floor into prone position was ridiculous. I got so fed up I almost gave up with the challenge. I couldn't understand why on earth my character kept doing this, until I realised what I was doing wrong. You see, if you hold the trigger even a fraction of a second before you press the slide button, your character will do a sort of drop shot, and this means you won't be able to slide. But if you press the slide even a fraction of a second before you pull the trigger, it therefore means you'll start the slide and then you will shoot. And this is what you want to do. So many times that happened, and it really prevented me from getting a lot of slide kills, and I'm sure it is for other people as well. So just bear in mind, slide first and then shoot. It sounds silly, but if people don't realise what they're doing, they can often go into that prone position instead of sliding, which is not what we want to happen. Similarly, every time you see an enemy, don't automatically just go to shoot, because then what you'll do is you'll shoot and you'll most likely then press the slide button and do what I just said. You'll go prone or you'll crouch. You'll want to slide first and then shoot. So because of this, even though it sounds sort of counterintuitive, it might often be good to literally just run around every corner. If you see an enemy, then you can slide into them and shoot. If you don't do this, you'll have to go around the corner, start running, slide and shoot. This could cost you valuable time and you might die. On the other hand, if you're already running, you simply have to press the slide button and shoot at the same time by holding down the trigger. This is going to get you the low blow medals more often. Well, I hope you found these tips useful. If you've got any other ones that I've missed or anything that you think would be worth noting, leave it down in the comment section. And as mentioned, if you found these tips useful, feel free to leave a like. I've got a playlist in the description which are going to be constantly updating with new guides, challenges, camos, etc. So make sure you go and check it out. That's for both Modern Warfare Remastered and Infinite Warfare. For all things challenge, keep it Rage Gamer.